Everybody, please welcome back to our program, Edward Norton. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
How are you?
I'm very well. You?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Yeah.
This is in this movie, we can talk about morality, hypocrisy, love, desire, all the aging, all the big elements. But right off the bat, the cornrows, were they your choice? Or?
It was. You know, I had a really good idea of what the movie was about, but I didn't really have a great idea of who the guy was. And it was one of those things where, you know, we were even rehearsing, and De Niro, I felt like he was looking at me like, you know, what are you gonna, what's it gonna be? It's not gonna be, you know, what's it gonna be? And I was like kind of going, I'm not really sure yet. And we went up to Detroit to film the movie, and I started interviewing guys at these prisons who had come from the streets of Detroit. And that was the first time I started to get an idea of it. But we were literally like 4 days before shooting, and I was thinking, well, I'm gonna take a little of this guy, a little of this guy. And then this one guy walked in, and as soon as he walked in the room, I was like, that's it, I'm doing that. And
he had cornrows.
Yeah, and actually a number of them did, but this guy did, and it was more, I can't explain it, it was just, that voice, he had that cracked, glassy, broken glass voice, and you know, it was like I chucked everything else I'd been doing and just went with that.
When you're trying to understand your character and you're interviewing guys who've been through Detroit prison system, whatever, just as a human, what were you feeling listening to them? Was it empathy? Was it like?
Oh yeah, no, it's fascinating. I mean, and I think if you give people a safe environment, like if you respect them and let them know, you know, that you really appreciate the help they're giving you, I think people open up. They feel encouraged to share themselves, and I would say, really, I felt very moved. I felt very grateful to these guys. They were very forthcoming about kind of what had led them to where they were, and the ones who were really helpful were definitely, we focused on guys who seemed to have, even though they were very hard, even though they were very edgy, we focused on ones who seemed to have had some kind of a transformation in their lives in prison. So, of course, that's interesting to hear about.
What I found neat about the choice, too, about being the guy is, as an actor, if you do it right and you make your choices right, you get to do things and go places that you're not allowed to do in society.
Definitely. I would say, after many years of doing it, like, you know, making a film and the cameras being there and the people, that's not so novel anymore. But it never diminishes for me that it's like, you know, what would ever take me into a prison north of Detroit to talk with guys about what they're doing and what they've been through. It's a complete, every time I do one of these things, it's like a life expansion experience. You learn things, you get perspectives on the way other people live and against the way you live. And it's my absolute favorite part of the job, if that's what it is, you know?
When I saw it, there were parts where they weren't supposed to laugh, but there was a nervous laughter, a kind of a tension-releasing laughter that came from the audience, where there's a couple of really key scenes between you and De Niro, where you both got, it felt like you both, you know, good baseball is getting the right base hit, the right double, the right triple, but there were a couple of home runs together, which is spectacular. Do you know when you're with De Niro that you have this thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody really like him. He's a very unusual, he's an unusually restrained actor. He won't bend himself to the scene. He'll bend the scene to his standard of truth in a way, and it's hard to explain the process on a set. But the first time I worked with him, I already knew him. I wasn't intimidated by him, but I was excited to be working with him, and I got thrown by the way he works. I thought he was resisting what I was doing, and I got like this real like electric charge of like, oh God, he doesn't like what I'm doing. Like he's like, and it took me a bit to realize that was just not the case at all. That he wasn't, that he's not looking for me to bend my process around his. He was just doing his own thing, and once it clicked for me, and he gave me little signals. Once the light bulb went off that there was a way for us to blend, that I didn't have to be like him. It was great.
I imagine in your life there's except for making conscious choices to surround yourself with the right people, people aren't going to tell you the truth most of the time, right? They just want to like, hey, is that right?
I got a lot of people telling me that. Plenty of hard truths. No, you want to work with people who have a set of standards that they're going to hold you to. They have their own. They have strong ideas. It doesn't mean you don't. People get into a romance, I think, when they write about making movies and they say, "Oh, it was the most delightful set." I've never believed that great work gets done in an environment of zero friction. Like, I think friction, creative friction, like polishes the thing up. It's necessary, and
when order meets chaos, you get art.
Yeah, or ideas bump up against other ideas, and it has to get worked out, and something probably comes out of it that's better. And the difference to me, it's not who do you get along with best. It's who else knows that that's what they want from you. I like directors who, and other actors who they want you to push back against them, and you want to be pushed by them, and then at the end everybody's like happy for that process.
You represent biodiversity.
Not in my person.
No, but you.
No, I'm kidding.
Although that would be weird.
Yeah.
UN envoy for biodiversity. I mean, just explain to people what it is you do and what it is.
As you might know, the UN has ambassadors for their various programs for the refugee and human rights thing, and the UN Development Program. Lots of the different UN agencies have ambassadors, and there's a something called the UN Convention on Biodiversity, and they've asked me to be their goodwill ambassador. So I work just to help bring more attention to the crisis of loss of biodiversity, and to publicize the efforts of the Convention on Biodiversity to create global standards for preserving biodiversity.
Why is it important to you? Because I'm sure you get asked a lot to do this stuff.
Well, I've worked on conservation and environmental issues most of my life, partly because my father's that's my father's professional expertise, and I don't know, I think I have the sense that generationally, not just in the US and Canada, but globally, that our generation has, to some degree, identified environmental crisis as something that we've embraced as our generation's kind of global cause, or a very important global cause of these times. And so I like being involved in that. I think decisions are going to be made in the next 50 years that are going to have enormous impact on the long-term future. And so I like being. I don't flatter myself that I'm going to, that any one person is the key to that, but I do think that everybody can participate in that in small ways, so I want to be a part of it.
That's cool. So in terms of anthropology, do you remember how many people you've beaten up in film?
No, let's see, in Death to Smoochie, it was probably, no.
Your other more famous role in prison, right?
Yeah,
Death to Smoochie.
a Toronto film, though,
Yeah, people-
filmed in the CBC Center.
It's right, yeah, just
Death to
like
Smoochie.
one floor up, I think,
Yep.
a couple floors up. Yankees or Red Sox?
Both awful, evil empires.
Well done.
Yeah.
What are you, like a Kansas City Royals
No,
fan?
Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, God, there you go. Do you ever watch The Wire?
I've watched every one in sequence.
Do you love it?
It's one of the greatest things that was ever on television.
First age-inappropriate movie you ever saw?
It was one of those ski.
Like Hot Dog?
Hot dog, yeah, hot dogs. Yeah,
I remember renting that, how embarrassed it was to rent that film. What did you learn about life from Hot Dog?
How long it was going to take me to get close to anyone who looked like the girls in that movie.
When are you, I mean, not counting, the acting moment, but when are you most happy in your life?
That's a good question. I like to be learning something. I like to be. I like things that take me out of my head.
Well, what scares you the most?
Probably being over busy, not like using the opportunity that I've got to enjoy and actually enjoy life.
So much on your plate that life passes you by?
Yeah, exactly. Work. I think you can really overwork for sure.
Do you do your own laundry?
I do, always.
Yeah. Do you, Is it whites and colors, or do you do black separately?
I don't wear a lot of black. That's washable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your most embarrassing acting moment?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, the pink rhino suit has to have been up there. No, I don't know. I don't get too embarrassed acting, I think.
What's your most memorable rock concert? It doesn't have to be rock, any genre.
I'd have my, I don't know, Radiohead, Madison Square Garden, 2003 would be good. But Springsteen, I gotta throw, you know, any number of them since I was 10 years old would be way up there.
Not bad at all. Good to see you, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for
you
coming.
too.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Robert Norton, everybody. The film is called Stone. Thanks for watching. Our website's drama.com. We'll see you next time.